Okay, ladies and germs, about to have this little debate over what is a very hot take from Gareth Davies, who's offended all the sensitive people on Twitter who want to be offended. Because I'm a big Muhammad Ali fan, in case you haven't noticed, like in case you don't already know that. I'm a big Ali fan. And I knew exactly what he meant when he said what he said, but people on Twitter like to be mad. So, Turning Pint is going to come on here and debate the subject with me. Not sure what the debate is, but I don't need to because I'm that intelligent. David Hemmings was good, man. Daniel Cartridge was goody. It's already set up. All you gotta do is click the link. Lawsuits and countersuits are flying around, and oh shiznit, man, he got himself in some trouble. I was Goody Brig, was Goody J.O., ABS, Sequeed, Emma, running with God. I'm gonna wait for whatchamacallit. He said he wants to debate the subject. And you ain't just gonna get my time for free. It might be time to shave. This beard is getting very thick. It's getting thick. Looking like Leonidas every day. Appreciate that, boxing god. Thank you kindly. You never know. You never know where the future's gonna take you. Yeah, man. Yeah, Warp Speed. Like these guys always say they want to debate me, and it's like, yo, I'm not gonna sit here arguing you with a person for free. No, I already don't care what most people think. So if you want my time, I better be making money. Cause I don't want to just be arguing for free. Shit, I'm already set in my ways. I'm old. Look at them. Look at them gray hairs. Where they at? Where they at? There they are. Look at that. There's gray hairs all over there, dog. Dubois fighting on Showtime. I know, man. I'm excited. Sure, you don't miss the days of having to be clean shaven? Nah. I mean, I'm gonna take it down some. I'm just letting it grow out for a while, but I'm gonna take it down some. Just not yet. I want to get it at least down to here, and then I'll get it shaped up and all of that. I'm gonna wait. Facebook, YouTube details when I can. I won't be able to see them. It's all set up. See, this is the childish stuff of I don't want people to. I can't see your YouTube details if you jump on here, bro. I can't see your information. Warp Speed. Yeah, and shout out to Melissa Odessa. She sent me an intro too. Always appreciate her. Always very helpful. Always very gracious. Nah, I ain't going, bro. Nah, I ain't gonna be pussy in the car. That's Broner. Well, depends on the car. Depends on the. No, I'm just. Yo, why is this dude wasting my time, man? I went live. Just click the link, bro. I'm not gonna be able to see your YouTube information. I can't see none of that. The most I can see is the name that you give yourself. I cannot see your social security number. I can't see none of that. All I can see is the name that you give yourself. Now, Poli, what's good, man? It's a lot of stuff going on. That lawsuit Apparently Manny Pacquiao, and once again, this is not, I'm not saying this is a I told you so. I'm just reminding y'all of what I said. That Manny Pacquiao has a habit of dipping his finger in too many pies. You already had Sean Gibbons as a manager. You jumped into bed with Paradigm. Now, because you jumped into bed with Paradigm and you already had Sean Gibbons and Al Heyman, now you created this whole legal situation that could get the fight with Spence, that could lead to an injunction that stops the Spence fight. Like, yo, I don't like, you didn't, if you want the Conor McGregor fight, and I said this, I'm gonna do a video on it, but to remind y'all, I said, if you wanted to fight Conor, you didn't have to sign the Paradigm. I don't know why he signed to them people. Like, you could have just had Sean or Al Heyman negotiate the fight for a Conor McGregor fight. You could have had them do that. You did not have to do paperwork with Paradigm to get that fight. And now look, you didn't even have that fight because he got beat in the cage. Look, Base. Look, I'm from Harlem, so that's very difficult for me. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna always be a Cam fan, forever, ever. Confessions of Fire, SDE, Purple Haze, all of that. Like, I got all them albums, but group wise, I always liked the Deluxe more. Group wise, I always liked the Deluxe more. What's the chances of Eddie Hearn? It won't happen. The purse bids. It won't happen. It's been called off, bro. It won't happen. I'm still waiting. Yeah, but it's not. You know what the thing is too, Dougie? It's not a legit battle. They not going back and forth bar for bar. They going hit for hit. If it was bar for bar, how you gonna get Joel Santana to go bar for bar with Jada Styles? The only one he could really go bar for bar with is Sheik, and Sheik is, to me, Sheik is better than Santana. It's just Santana. He got like fake hits and all of that. So Tank versus yeah, right. Yeah, I agree, XM. Like, lyrically, it's the locks, but because it's verses, they going hit for hit. They not going bar for bar like who got the better bars or who got the better punchline. It's hit for hit. So that's why it could be competitive, because Dipset does have a lot of hits. What's the latest on John Ryder? There's a purse bid August 7th. I haven't heard nothing about that fight being made. The last I heard, there's a purse bid scheduled for August 7th to decide what's going to happen with that. Appreciate that, George. I'm waiting. See, the people on Twitter, they love to argue on Twitter, but try to get them out of that shit and see if they have the same energy. Try to get them away from Twitter and see if they, because everybody's an activist on Twitter. Everybody's an activist. All the faceless accounts, people that don't want to show their face, they don't want people to know what they look like, they don't want people to hear their voice. All that bullshit on Twitter is bullshit on Twitter. Because this is simple. If you want to have a debate with me, which you said, I'm right here. I ain't hiding. Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall. Yeah, I heard about that. He got to get him out of the way. Just this outraged person. He don't know that I'm an Ali fan. He probably think I'm some millennial, some young buck that don't know nothing about no Muhammad Ali. We'll see what we know and what we don't. We'll see. I was goody Rob, was goody crazy, WMA. I believe I know why he said that, and I agree with him. Because I know that what he's talking about is not the philanthropic work. And anybody who's making that association, that's because you're a casual. If you're making the association between Muhammad Ali's philanthropic work and the correlation that Gareth tried to establish between what she's doing and what he did, that's because you're a casual. It's very clear what he was talking about. And any real fan of Muhammad Ali, yeah, you'll get it. that he changed the way that fighters marketed themselves. Because before him, a lot of the fighters, they didn't talk. You did not see fighters showing up to their opponent's house with a bullhorn on a charter bus in order to sell a fight. He changed the way that fighters marketed themselves. The correlation that Gareth Davies is trying to make is in reference to that, not the philanthropic work, not rescuing hostages and getting people to come down off the ledge. When nobody was talking about none of that except y'all. What he was talking about is how Muhammad Ali changed the way that fighters sell themselves, because fighters wasn't talking, let alone talking smack, before he came around. They wasn't talking. That's what he was talking about, and I know that because I'm a Muhammad Ali fan. I know that the first dude that ever dropped Muhammad Ali was Sonny Banks. When he had Sonny pinned to a corner. Sonny like check hooked him and slipped out, and Ali hit the deck. I'm an Ali fan, bro. You're not going to school me. I know exactly what Gareth Davies was talking about. That's why I got it, and I didn't get offended, because he not talking about no philanthropic work. He not talking about after the exile and the speeches at the colleges. He wasn't talking about that. He was talking about marketing. But y'all, it's a lot of cats that's not going to know that, because everybody like being mad in 2021. Everybody like being mad. I was goody. How do you think Joshua Buat? I think he'll do very well, because I think their styles mesh. I think their styles gel. Joshua Buatsi is not just a strong puncher. He sets up his shots, and I think Virgil can help him with that. I think that's a good. I think Joshua Buatsi is a good pairing. I think McGuigan and Dubois is a good pairing. And I think he's gonna blossom under I think he will. I think he'll get to a certain point where he can at least fight for a world title. I think he will. Nah, he want to keep it on Twitter. Like, bro, like, come on, dog. You asked me to do this shit. See, this is the shit. This is why I don't like Twitter. I hate to say this, because I'm like, it ain't like I'm Rambo and nothing like that. But Twitter, it's just a lot of stupid, childish, cowardly shit on Twitter. This is the shit I got it. Like, bro, you asked me to do this. You asked me to do this. I was about to take my afternoon nap. Why you hate on the PBC? I'll shoot you a link and you can ask me about it. Here you go. You can ask me all about it. There you go. Who the fuck is I don't know, dude. Honestly, I did not expect him to fight somebody that was good on that card, because look, they got Michael Hunter versus Mike Wilson. You see what I mean? They had Prograrius versus Catch. Those is not. So I wasn't even expecting that. Oh yeah, Daniel gonna go in there and it's gonna be a for real fight. Nah, if it was a for real fight, Frank would be promoting it. I have a question, Julius. Do fighters have the chance to sign with all the boxing rankings, or they have the chance to sign with all of them? They have the chance, literally, you have the chance. The reason you might see that a fighter doesn't sign with a sanctioning body, that they not rank with them, is probably because they not after that belt and they don't want those charges. Because remember, you pay sanctioning fees for every one of them. You pay sanctioning fees for the WBC, sanctioning fees for the WBA, WBO, IBF. So unless you after that belt, why would you want them taking something out of your purse for it? Why would you want them to? Like, if you know I ain't trying to win the WBC because so-and-so got it, and I know he ain't going to fight me, and I know y'all ain't going to order it, so why would you want them charging you sanctioning fees? You wouldn't. So maybe you might not be ranked with them. You only going to go with the ones that you actually after. What? Oh, this dude is a troll, man. Just click the link, man. Matter of fact, whatever. Go get attention on another channel. Matter of fact, you can stay. Stay. You just can't talk. See, look at this shit. This dude asked me for a debate. Where's the shit? It's too much glare. You asked for a debate. Now you're waffling. Okay. Appreciate that, WMA. That's what I get for only looking at headlines designed to elicit outrage. From a marketing point, Davies is right. Bridges is that's what he was talking about. I knew that because if you actually follow Ali's career, when he was called Cassius Clay, the guys before him, none of them was doing all that talking. I'm pretty, I'm beautiful, I'm the king of the world. Nobody was doing that, bro. That's how he changed the standard. That's how he changed how fighters market themselves. Because fighters before him did not talk. They didn't do none of that. All right? They was not showing up to Sonny Liston house in a charter bus with a bullhorn talking shit. Fighters did not market themselves that way. But on Twitter, where the little virtue signalers live, and the cowards and the chicken shits that run around talking shit but too scared to show their face. Oh yeah, on Twitter, oh, comparing to Ali. Shut the fuck up. You don't follow Ali's career. You didn't follow his career. Fuck is you trying to kid? If you did, you would have got the correlation. You would have understood. Do you think Fox is possible? I'll tell you what. If this injunction, I'm not saying I hope it happens, because I actually plan on buying Spence versus Pacquiao. If this injunction stops this fight from happening, yeah, I don't think Fox will renew. I don't think they will. What's up? People's numbers don't lie. Can't get AJ. Ali knew how to sell himself and promote a fight. Win or lose, you were gonna get. Yeah, like I said, if you a fan of Ali the way I'm a fan of Ali, you would have got it. That like, yeah, she kind of is doing that because she's changing the way that female fighters market themselves. It's not that you have to do what she's doing. It's that it's changing the standard to where people feel comfortable. Ali did that with heavyweights talking, fighters talking, because fighters wasn't talking. It wasn't none of that. That's what he did. But no, let these guys. No, she didn't stop terrorism. She didn't do. Nobody said she stopped terrorism, bro. You took it there. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to go in this chitty chat and let's see. Is this the one? Let me see. Let me see. Where is this? Appreciate that, Willie Lynch. Highly recommend Larry Holmes' Don't Tell Me I Can't autobiography. His stories about Don King are hilarious. Holmes really revolutionized how fighters market themselves. Yeah, but they ostracized Larry, man. Larry was never appreciated. Let me see if he's all right. I think this is it. The mic is
try to
off.
box Usyk because that's where Usyk's defense becomes. That's where he becomes a little more vulnerable when he's coming forward. He's very open to the.
I know who that is. That's intangible.
And when he fights against,
yo, they can hear me.
When he fought, for example,
wait, Julius, what happened to the live? What happened?
I'm still on live right now. I gotta get my money. I'm always getting my money. Yeah, so I think this is Turning Pint. I like your name, by the way. That shit always makes me laugh when I read it. Turning Pint, because I appreciate that. I like it. It's very special. All right, so let's have this discussion about the correlation between. Bear in mind, we are live right now. The correlation between Muhammad Ali, Gareth Davies' comment, and how that pertains to Ebony Bridges' marketing strategy. Go ahead.
Sure, I think what everybody's talking about. Yeah, I think
I think if you guys just give the mute for a minute, I think look, Ring, if you wanna fire off and make your argument, I can react to it because I think that's the bigger statement, and then we'll just flow from there.
Okay, well, I know exactly what Gareth was talking about when he correlated Bridges' marketing strategy changing the norm for female fighters in the sport to what Muhammad Ali did for male fighters in the sport, because he clearly wasn't talking about philanthropic work, since Ebony Bridges doesn't do any philanthropic work. What he was talking about is how Ali changed the standard for fighters and how they marketed themselves. Because before he was even called Ali, when he was called Cassius Clay, fighters didn't talk. He was the first one to come out talking and promoting himself and selling a fight. It seemed pretty obvious to me. That's the correlation that Gareth was making with Ebony Bridges and Muhammad Ali. He wasn't talking about philanthropic work. So maybe it's that people on Twitter want to be angry about something and they don't even know what Gareth is talking about because they didn't actually follow Ali. They don't know his career. They just see something and an opportunity to pretend like what they know what they're talking about when, you don't know what the fuck Gareth is talking about, bro.
Yeah, of course. I'm seething with anger right now, but I'll hold myself together to make my argument.
Okay.
Look, I think when you make Muhammad Ali comparison, you're going to get a very fair reaction where people want to know a little bit more about why you're making that connection, right? And I always think that Muhammad Ali has three major areas where his influence is mostly felt. It's the social and cultural impact that Muhammad Ali had. It's changing the sport internally, not only by being a phenomenal athlete, but also by being someone that people look up to. And thirdly, and I think this is the point that you made, is that Muhammad Ali changed how fighters approach their fights, and including trash talking and presentation. Okay, so I think you and me will both agree that on the 2 out of the 3 points, the greatest impact in the sport in terms of legacy, Ebony Bridges doesn't really meet that criteria. We would agree there. I think we'd also agree that Ebony Bridges won't have a lasting legacy equivalent to someone like Muhammad Ali. And I'd actually make the point that Ebony Bridges won't have a legacy like other female fighters. She won't have a legacy like someone like Holly Holm or Lucia Reicher or Clarissa Shields or even Katie Taylor. And they really did actually change the sport. So if Gareth Davies was going to make the argument that a female fighter has fundamentally changed the marketing strategy, it should have actually been another female fighter. And I don't think you get to use the moniker or the title or the iconic imagery of Muhammad Ali for a fighter that is lesser than her own opponents. And I'll just make one final point and I'll let you respond to that. We reserve Muhammad Ali comparisons not just for people who create a name for themselves, but people whose names are created for them. Muhammad Ali's name transcends the sport of boxing. It goes beyond how a fighter gets up on stage or takes their clothes off or trash talks. So for you to say, or Gareth Davies to say, that Ebony Bridges is some sort of female Muhammad Ali in any respect, you have to now turn around and say, when people talk about female boxing, they won't say Katie Taylor, they won't say Clarissa Shields, they'll say Ebony Bridges. And I just don't think that's reasonable or fair. So I'll let you fire back, Rain.
Okay, now
when do we vote? Can we vote?
I'm easy. You guys, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, you guys can vote. I'll rebuttal that by saying that it was pretty clear with Gareth Davies.
You got cooked. He just cooked your ass.
Oh, okay. Can I talk? Can I talk? Now, my rebuttal to that is Gareth.
Let him go. Go on.
Yeah, stop being childish, man. Gareth Davies never said nothing about Ebony Bridges' record, her fighting style, her legacy as a fighter. Gareth Davies made it clear what he was talking about. He was talking about marketing. And anybody who actually followed the career of Muhammad Ali will know that he single-handedly changed how fighters marketed themselves. That was the context. The only people whose head that went over are people who don't actually know that. People who don't know Muhammad Ali when he was Cassius Clay. They're focused on the Ali after the exile, when he became a philanthropist. Before that, he was a fighter. And what he changed was how people viewed fighters because he was outspoken. He broke the social norm. That's what Ebony Bridges is doing by going up there and posing when people are telling her, no, you shouldn't do that because you're sexualizing yourself. Well, according to who? It's her body. If you want to go up there with a heavy bag, a garbage bag, and cover up your titties, you could do that. But you ain't got to stop me from doing me. That's what he was talking about. And I don't know how any certified historian of boxing would lose sight of that he's not talking about philanthropic work because he never mentioned philanthropic work. You're mentioning philanthropic work. That's you. That's your reaction. That's not what he was talking about.
No, you're absolutely right, Julius. I'm not a certified historian. I am a doctor of philosophy, though. No, I'm not. Look, let's just return to the point about the marketing strategy. I fundamentally agree with you, and I think you made a very excellent point when you said that Muhammad Ali has changed the sport for the better way for a fighter, how they market themselves, how they sell themselves, how they stand up and create something new. But to try and divorce that from the political, cultural, and social legacy of Muhammad Ali is taking away the very things that make him great. And why are there 40 people here listening? Because he was so great. I think you're trying to reduce Muhammad Ali's legacy to lift up Ebony Bridges. And I actually like Ebony Bridges. I don't think she's a bad person. I quite enjoy her. But you have to ask this question to yourself. Has Ebony Bridges really had this social or marketing strategy that's been successful? Who has really turned around and said Ebony Bridges has changed the face of female boxing? I've never really heard that argument. And I like her. I really do like her, but she's now making less money than her counterparts. She's losing fights. She's not really a trash talker. She's very pretty, and I agree with that. But that's an aside. So how is she actually changing the sport in any way that could be compared to Muhammad Ali when other female fighters are doing it better and in different ways?
Okay, well, how many female fighters did you actually speak to get a consensus on what they're doing and how they view her marketing? How many?
I spoke to one.
Oh, I speak to several, and the reason that I'm not going to divulge their names, but the reason that she's changing, I'm not going to divulge their names. No, that's not right. But if you're paying attention, you can see which ones they are. I speak to several of them, and some of them have said it publicly that she is helping to change the way. Bro, I didn't interrupt. I didn't interrupt you, bro.
Julius, you're absolutely right. That's fair.
Bro, but are you gonna interrupt me when I let you go through your whole thing?
No, that's fair. I just want to know the public one. Who's that? That's fair.
All right. Well, very recently, Sulem Urbina, Rhiannon Dixon, who's from UK. I knew Nike was gonna do that. All right. Also, Rhiannon Dixon. I did an interview with her not that long ago, and she's all for what Ebony Bridges is doing and how she's marketing herself, because you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but nobody wants to be the one to step forward and say, fuck all that bullshit. You're not going to tell me what I should wear to a weigh-in. Your perceptions of me are not going to affect what I'm doing. And your issue seems to be what you are attaching to the comment, because all this stuff you're saying is not what Gareth Davies said. That's just you. Those are the associations that you're making. Those aren't associations that Gareth Davies made. He never mentioned terrorism the way you did. He never mentioned philanthropic work the way you did. He never mentioned racism the way some of these other people did. All this other shit that all these other people is talking about ain't even what he was talking about. He was talking about marketing, because if you know anything about Muhammad Ali, you'll know he changed the way that fighters market themselves. That's what Ebony Bridges is doing for female boxers. You're saying, now once again, you're saying there are certain fallacies that are associated with your argument that she's getting paid less than who? She's getting paid less than Beck Connolly? Well, right now, no. Let's address it. Is she getting paid less than Beck Connolly?
I don't know.
Well, I'd wager. Let's make a $20 bet. Let's make a $20 bet that she's not. Let's make a $20 bet that she's not.
Julius, as much as I respect your gambling history on Twitter, I'm going to decline that offer. But I do agree with you about something you said earlier when you stated that people do like to get on Twitter and get very angry. You're absolutely right. I didn't think of it until now, but I think you've made a very good case for that. So let's return back to the marketing strategy. How does a fighter who's earning less than her counterparts have an impact equivalent to Muhammad Ali, even if you had agreement with one or two female fighters? I would question whether or not you might be slightly exaggerating who you're talking to, because I don't think you've ever met a female fighter who said Ebony Bridges was the next Muhammad Ali of marketing. Although perhaps you did, but I would still question whether or not that would be a valid and reasonable interpretation of what she's actually done for the marketing strategy of female fighters. Would you agree, though, that there are female fighters alive right now that have a bigger impact on the sport of boxing than Ebony Bridges?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Would you agree that that would be a better equivalent to say that they are the next Muhammad Ali?
No, I would not, because what Gareth Davies was talking about is very specific, and you're broadening the subject to accommodate your argument.
In what context?
Well, you're making about who's had the biggest impact on the sport of women's boxing, and not the correlation that Gareth Davies made, which is the subject.
Yeah, well, I do think when you say someone is the next Muhammad Ali, regardless of whether you try and sub-break it down to marketing or social influence or legacy, you do lead to the normal statement that no, they're not, because they have...
No, wait a minute. Gareth didn't lead anywhere. You led it there because that's how you chose to interpret it. Gareth's statements were very specific, and you're willfully choosing to take them out of context. He wasn't talking about... No, wait a minute. He wasn't talking about Ebony Bridges' legacy. No. He wasn't talking about her fighting style, her legacy, her professional record, the quality of company. None of that. All of that is stuff that you brought up. None of that is what he said.
You agree, though, they're all lesser things.
Of course they're lesser things, but what was the subject? Marketing. And you, wait a minute, you chose to take it to all these different places because you don't think there's a correlation between what Ali did with marketing and what she's doing for marketing with women in boxing. But you're not even addressing that. You're not addressing that. Right now, is it not a matter of fact? Okay, Lisa Whiteside has a better amateur background than Ebony Bridges does. Who has a fight right now?
I assume Ebony Bridges.
Right. Does Lisa Whiteside have a fight right now?
No. I last time I checked, but I haven't talked to her in a while.
And when's the last time Lisa had a fight?
I'll have to text her.
I can tell you. It's been well over a year. She was away with child, and that's her prerogative. Yeah. The point that I'm making is that
Muhammad Ali never got pregnant. So.
Well, yeah, that is true. I think that would be very difficult to do. But then again, this is about marketing, not pregnancy. You're once again, what I'm noticing about all the arguments that you're making is that you keep trying to make this subject about something that it's not. Yeah. Because Gareth never said nothing about pregnancy. He never said nothing about fighting styles and pro records. All of that is stuff that you're attaching to the argument.
Yeah, I have made the cardinal error of assuming when we talk about the legacy of Muhammad Ali, we do discuss fighting style, social legacy, influence, general impact, skill, outspokenness.
Okay, and did Gareth? I'm just wondering. If Gareth,
for diverging so greatly from the topic of Muhammad Ali by discussing Muhammad Ali.
Well, Gareth didn't make it specific enough for you because it was specific enough for me, but apparently it wasn't specific enough for you. I mean, I already knew he wasn't correlating her record to Muhammad Ali's, and he never actually said that himself. That's an association that you're making. You're the one taking things out of context.
But you do agree, though, that Muhammad Ali's mainstream impact on marketing is not equivalent to Ebony Bridges.
Well, didn't Gareth say that she could be? He didn't say that she is. He said that she could be.
I thought you were saying that as a matter of fact, boxers have told you right now, female boxers, that Ebony Bridges has had the impact. But
No. I said that you asked me, once again, you asked me, has what she's done, once again, you're talking over me. You're talking over me, and you're putting words in my mouth. You asked me if anything she's done has influenced other boxers. I said yes. Several of the ones I've spoken to, they actually agree with what she's doing. They do. That was the question. No. You're trying to make it seem like I said that these female boxers equated Bridges to Ali. No. Don't do that. Now you're just lying. You asked me specifically.
No female boxer views Ebony Bridges like Muhammad Ali.
Well, I didn't say that any female boxers view her as Muhammad Ali. I said that what she's doing influenced the way that they look at things.
Sure, every boxer influences every other boxer. George Groves influences other boxers all the time. Don't think he's the next Muhammad Ali.
Well, I didn't say that any of these female boxers. I didn't say that any of these female boxers said that they view Ebony Bridges as Muhammad Ali. You're saying that.
Can I boil your point down to Ebony Bridges has influenced other boxers, and she might be the next Muhammad Ali of marketing? Is that your whole argument?
Oh, that's actually Gareth Davies' argument, and the argument that I'm making is I see where he's coming from. Yeah, I could see that.
Do you agree with him?
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
Okay, so that is your argument. You're agreeing with the argument that he makes.
Yes, that she could be the next
Right.
Ali of marketing, possibly.
Right. I think the universe of your argument has gotten very, very small in the last 5 years.
It was small to begin with. You're the one that expanded upon it with all the associations you made yourself. No one else made those associations.
I do agree. It was very small. I'm sorry.
Yes, it actually was. It was very specific, and you chose to tack on philanthropic work and collegiate speeches and exiles and racism and records and fighting styles. Nobody brought any of that stuff up but you.
You're totally right, Judas. Look, I'm Irish, so I'm naturally very pessimistic. So call me very, very pessimistic when I say I don't think Ebony Bridges could be the next Muhammad Ali of female boxing.
Well, nobody made that statement. You made that statement. So, I mean, if you don't feel that way, that's you.
Right, okay. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about what Gareth Davies said in reference to marketing. You're the one who's trying to make her the Ali of women's boxing overall. No one said that, not even Gareth. You just want something to be mad about.
I am furious, I do admit.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it really does. So, Julius, just to get this very clear, you don't believe Ebony Bridges is currently the Muhammad Ali of anything really just yet. But you kind of heard something a female boxer once told you, and she could maybe be something in a while, but not Ali. But you agree with that?
Yeah, I could see where Gareth was coming from. And I said that in my tweet. I could see where he's coming from a marketing angle. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But would you agree with what he said?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It could happen. Anything is possible.
Look, I genuinely enjoyed this conversation. I'm not 100% sure. I think we might end up going around in circles. But if you want to make a kind of a closing statement, I'll make a closing statement. Unless you
I'll make my closing statement and then you can go. Cool. What you did was make all these associations that Gareth Davies himself didn't make because you wanted something to argue about. You didn't have any actual talking points to rebuttal what he said. That's why you tacked on other things that had nothing to do with what he was saying. And that's what you wanted to argue about. No one said that they feel Ebony Bridges is the Muhammad Ali of women's boxing. They said marketing, because Ali changed the way. Cassius Clay, I should say, not even Ali, because that was before he was Ali. Cassius Clay changed the way that fighters marketed themselves because he promoted himself, the way that Ebony Bridges is seen promoting herself. That's the tenuous association that Gareth made. You expanded it to all these other areas that no one was talking about because you had no argument. That's my closing statement.
You have an argument.
I'll just make my little closing argument, then I'll fire it up to everyone else. Although I have no argument, I do have one. I disagree that Ebony Bridges has done anything in terms of marketing to the level of Muhammad Ali.
No one said that.
Okay, well then we can agree. All right, I'll let everyone else chat.
Okay, go ahead, Hitman.
Can I just add something to that? I don't think Ebony Bridges is the next Muhammad Ali of anything. However, I would say in the next year and a half, in the last year and a half, she kind of, maybe not her herself, but her and all the, not necessarily boxers, but female fighters like, UFC, Bellator, that sort of stuff. They have showed that, you don't have to dress like a nun to be, taken seriously as a woman. You can look sexy and still be a badass fighter at the same time. But the two are not mutually exclusive.
Now, David, I wanna share with you this. There's a female power lifter that goes by the name of Steffi Cohen, right? Steffi is actually very popular. She's a social media influencer. She has about 1 million followers on YouTube, and I think a couple 100,000 on Twitter. Normally, she's a power lifter. I got you, Hitman. I got you right now. Now, it's weird to me that Turning Point could feel as passionately as he does, yet he hasn't actually done the legwork to see the effect that this person has had, because Steffi Cohen is not a boxer by trade. She only recently got into boxing. She actually named Ebony Bridges as one of her influences. Her and Shannon Courtenay, admittedly, she named Clarissa and Katie too, but she actually knew who Ebony Bridges was. So when I say that I see the effect that this fighter's marketing is having, that's what I'm talking about. This was a power lifter that very recently got into boxing. You understand? But they know who Ebony Bridges is. And why do you think that is? Because of how she marketed herself. Otherwise, she'd just be another girl down there in Australia. They got no shortage of female boxers in Australia, but they don't know them by name. They don't know Shernika Johnson. They don't know Shannon O'Connell. They don't know Kylie Fulmer, Bianca Elmire. They don't know none of these girls that probably have more fights and better fights against better opponents than Ebony. But they'll name Ebony. Why? Because of how she marketed herself.
And David, if I can just say, knowing her name's half the battle to becoming the next Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, like I don't think Ebony's the only one, you know, looks sexy, you know, and can fight. Like, don't turn this into a conversation about fighters you want to fuck, bro. Like, come on, man. Don't turn it into a whole conversation about which girl you can put on this. Valerie look good. Valerie look good. I think it.
I think that it wasn't. I don't think it was Heather. I think it was Shannon that you're talking about. But it was because
No.
Huh?
It was that.
Yeah, it was.
That I pinned in this link. In this link, they're right over there. Look, you look. There's two.
let me see. Hold up. I don't know how to work this shit. I'm old.
We just came at her. Okay, so I can send
If you just-
All right, I dig it. I see it now. I see it now. Hold on.
You can see them? Yeah.
I see it. Let me
She
see.
came at Heather Hardy for posting raunchy pictures. I just want to know your opinion on that, sir.
Let me see. I gotta see what else it says. I'm on it though. I'm on it right now. Let me see. Look. Can I read the tweet? Jesus Christ.
I
Oh my God.
I'm not. You're very touchy, my guy.
Nah, cause y'all coming at me. I ain't even seen the tweet yet.
I just told you to read the tweet. And
All right. It says, "Pretty sure you owe me an apology then. Pretty sure you owe me an apology then. I don't forget anything. Be real. Open your what is this? Some feminists think they are helping women. Let me, because she posted this long ass meme with a bunch of shit in it. Some feminists think that.
Go to the next tweet. There's two of them pinned on this chat. The next one.
Yeah, I see that. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I'm trying to see what was said before that. It says, "Stop the stereotyping. Stop the double standards. Real women empower each other. Some feminists think they are helping women, but I think they are many who have blocked judgments with closed minds. Nothing one-sided or overly biased is like what are they arguing about? They say men judge stereotype women, but these women who say they are fighting for equality and fairness are the ones who judge and stereotype women like me. They see my looks and how I get along with men and instantly label me. Not sure if y'all have noticed by now, but I'm much more than blah, bling, 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 blah." It sounds like they already was arguing. Let me see. What did she say before that?
Maybe
Yeah,
easier if
I think you would have known about that.
maybe it'd be easier if you summarize why you think that's relevant in relation to Ebony Bridges. I think that'll probably be easier than reading out all the tweets.
Okay, it sounds like Ebony is addressing what she's already been addressing. She's addressing how she's being stereotyped for the lingerie that she wears at weigh-ins, and this was the initial conversation.
She stereotyped Heather.
I'm trying to see where she stereotyped Heather because I don't see that.
She said,
Go to the next tweet. She admits it.
Go to the next. There's two tweets.
Okay.
And Ebony said it herself.
Definitely do, and I've thought about it a lot when I first started boxing and was naive myself, and I looked up to you a lot, always have, still do, and I made a comment on one of your pics, not understanding why you would post such a wrong. Okay, now I see what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, she said something. I dig it. Apparently, she said something. I don't know the pic she's talking about, but I guess Heather must have been showing some skin, and Ebony said some slick shit. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess she changed her mind. I don't know, like.
Yeah, right?
She's just copying someone else's marketing strategy, but she's a genius. But she's a genius. Does that make Heather Hardy the next Ali?
Well,
Listen. The Hitman says this: if there's any female Ali for boxing, it's got to be Nike. Look what she done started.
I didn't start. No. I don't want
Yeah, you did. Look what you started. Girl, look what you started.
No. I'm affected. I just wanted him to read those tweets and then.
Okay, so now that I've read the tweets, okay, apparently Ebony Bridges is a hypocrite, right? This is the argument. Let me finish. Ebony's a hypocrite because apparently she was acting the same way that her critics do in reference to a picture of Heather Hardy. How does that pertain to Gareth Davies' comment? Well, let's see. Heather must have posted a raunchy pic. I haven't seen it. Is Heather where she is financially as far as boxing? That's the question, because if we're going to correlate Heather's raunchy pic to the discussion that we're having about Gareth Davies, what you then have to ask is, did Heather influence a bunch of broads? Did it change her pay scale or the pay scale of other women? Did it do that?
Well, is it
It
reality?
I don't think Bridges changed the pay scale.
Wait, did Ebony Bridges? Yeah.
Because then she took that up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I can't, like Nika, say what you said again because I can't hear you over all the people.
Do you think that changed Ebony Bridges' way of doing her marketing? Because she obviously took up on that same market that Heather was doing.
That depends because, all right, now, to answer your question, I don't know if you know this, but Ebony Bridges used to be a Olympic, what was it? Those people that pose? Not, yeah, my fault. Yeah, I'm bugging. You right. No, yeah, I'm wilding. I got the Olympics on my brain. But she used to be one of those people that posed in bikinis, right? And that's before, and that's before this tweet, because this tweet is from last year. Last year she was.
So why would she speak on Heather like that and then turn around and market herself?
Now that's the point I'm alluding. Now that's the point that I'm alluding to, Nika. The tweet is from last year. She was already doing that before last year. So I'm not denying that looked like some hypocritical ass shit. Like, it looks hypocritical. All I'm telling you, it is hypocritical. Like, call it what it is. Yeah, hypocrites. There's no shortage of them. But if we're trying to correlate Ebony Bridges' marketing style, okay, well, she was already doing that before this tweet and before any of this shit.
I think that maybe we should throw Heather Hardy's name into the Muhammad Ali.
Or Mia St. John.
I wouldn't rule that out because Ali had influences.
Could you know what? Wait a minute. Can I just jump?
And I agree. Also, whoever said Mia St. John, I'm in 100% agreement with that too, because Mia St. John was one of the first ones. Mia St. John posed for Playboy.
Okay. Julius, just one quick thing here. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. What is this amazing, inspirational, genius marketing strategy of Ebony Bridges?
I didn't say amazing Once again, you're the one that's making all these associations to feed your argument. I said, I see what Gareth means. I see what he means. Like, yeah, I see what you're talking about.
But Julius, what exactly is it? What is your marketing strategy that needed, what is your marketing strategy that no other female boxers?
Those are more associations that you're making that you see the verbiage? No other female boxer. Amazing. Like, nobody's saying any of that stuff but you, dog.
But Julius, just explain it for us, because we're all clearly, as you reiterated, we probably don't know, and we definitely don't know, and if you didn't know, so why don't you explain to us in just details, what exactly is that Ebony Bridges has done that's groundbreaking?
Well, Ebony Bridges is probably the only female boxer that's under constant scrutiny for this right now, even though other female boxers have done this before her, but she's probably taking more heat than they did when they did it.
What is that?
And she did it herself.
She was giving other female scrutiny though.
I can't. All right, one at a time. Okay, Nika, you said what?
And she did it herself.
And-
As we can see in the text message, the tweets right there.
Once again, I can't. I quote that some hypocritical shit. I'm not even saying that it isn't. But now we're moving on to, okay, what is she doing that correlates to Muhammad Ali? How are those things associated with each other? The association is that Muhammad Ali changed the way that fighters marketed themselves. That's what she's doing with this lingerie shit and being open about it and taking the heat for it, essentially, because
But how can she be the one who already did it?
who else is getting, all right, who else is getting more attention? Who else, when Mia St. John was posing for Playboy, were you sat around arguing about it?
Well, what do you have Twitter back then? So.
No, I didn't say Twitter. I didn't mention Twitter. I said, were you sitting around arguing about it?
But there was no internet back then to really argue and get people to.
You can argue in the street. Arguments existed before Twitter.
Okay, but arguments in the street only end one way.
I'm just wondering if you were up in arms. Were you up in arms when you saw Mia St. John posing for Playboy? Were you up in arms about it? Because you're up in arms about it now.
Maybe just a deep breath would
In the street, nobody's arguing with me about Bridges. Nobody knows Bridges in the street. I'm here in Texas. Nobody talks to me like, hey, man.
But you know her. You're here. You can't say nobody when you know her and you're here.
All right, so you can't compare the arguments of Bridges and Mia St. John. But
Why not?
Mia St. John already did
You
it.
brought her up, not me.
Mia St. John already did it. Wait, is that James Ellis talking?
And when she did it, were you arguing about it? Were you upset about it? Because you're upset about Ebony Bridges, but you're not upset about Mia.
I didn't care, but you know what?
So then why do you care now? If you didn't care when Mia did it, but you care when Bridges did it, what's the difference? If you don't care about Bridges, then why are we having a discussion about her?
No one cared because no one said Mia St. John's the next lead. No one said that.
So okay. So your argument is that because nobody said, okay. So your argument is because nobody said that Mia St. John is the next Ali. You didn't care enough to argue about it, but because Gareth said it, now you care enough to argue about it. Is that the point you're making?
I didn't care enough to argue on Twitter. I just got on Spaces and just heard your stupid ass.
But you are arguing. So what the? So you are arguing though. So what the fuck?
Your head is hard. Let's just pull this back. So we're in agreement that Ebony Bridges didn't invent the marketing strategies that she did. People did before her. We're also in agreement that, as you said, Ring, she could be the next Ali of marketing, but you're not saying she is right now. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair because that's literally what I said.
Cool. So, you're... okay.
I have a question.
I'm still kind of struggling here, though. What exactly is Ebony Bridges going to do in the next 5 years to make her the Muhammad Ali of female marketing? Because she's like 34. She doesn't have much left. Winning a fight.
You gotta wear white black clothes, like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yeah.
Is selling sweaty socks also groundbreaking for comparing her to Muhammad Ali? Muhammad
Depends on how
Ali.
much money she
Well,
makes.
Nika, I got a question. Nika, I got a question for you. You're the only female. Well, not the only. But if somebody offered you $1,000 for your old socks, would you sell them?
No,
You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. That's just the way I'm made up.
I dig it. I can respect that. That's fine. I can respect that.
I get offers.
My mom would sell it.
That's kind of look. That's kind of the point that I'm getting at. That's kind of the point that I'm getting at. What might
Nike socks?
well,
$2,000?
well, that's kind of the point that I'm getting at. That what might not be right for one might not be right for some. You wouldn't sell your socks. You listen. You wouldn't sell your socks. That's cool.
Compare that as groundbreaking promotional.
I didn't call it groundbreaking. I didn't bring it up. All the stuff, listen. All the stuff y'all talking about is stuff that y'all bringing up. You brought up socks.
Because that's part of her marketing strategy too. Selling sweaty socks. Let's just be real.
I'm not even saying it isn't. But you're kind of getting away from the point that the real difference between Ebony Bridges and all these other fighters that have also used sex in the past is that they didn't make the correlation to them having the effect that she's having. So what's the effect that she's having that those other fighters before her didn't get? It's getting more attention. What was the effect that Muhammad Ali had screaming and hooping and hollering and promoting himself? it got more attention.
Does it matter if she's successful in the ring or not, though? Because at the minute...
Well, once again, you're trying to make associations that Gareth didn't make. You're trying to argue about something else.
This point is very true. If you're marketing yourself as an athlete, you need to start winning fights.
Of course. But was he making an association? Was he making that association, or are you?
That's exactly what we're saying. We're saying his point doesn't make any sense because he's not taking the contextual importance of marketing and success. You cannot say that someone is the next Muhammad Ali of marketing for female fighters and then say things like, we're going to ignore the historical cultural legacy.
Those are all associations that you're making.
Their achievements in the ring and their overall persona. Because as you know, the marketing strategy of an individual fighter is holistic. It's based on them. It's based on them winning. It's based on how they control an audience. If you don't win, if you don't make a name for yourself, you don't sell yourself. And that's a fact.
That's not true. Look at Adrian Broner. That's not true. Look at Adrian Broner.
You wouldn't have a marketing strategy.
That's not true. Look at Adrian Broner.
Yeah, but Broner won world titles.
You brought up Sulem saying that she, I guess, agreed that she's breaking out with this great promotional thing. So I just want to point something else about that. Sulem took it upon herself to post something online. I guess her feet, and she hashtag foot fetish. Okay, fine. So then, of course, the pervs came who love feet because they follow that hashtag. And then the next day, she was crying about all the pervs that were in her inbox wanting to do something with her feet. So
I mean, I dig that, but because people are hypocritical, like, all right, I'm trying to understand. Y'all having like 5 different arguments. If she,
you brought her name up.
I brought her name up as someone who said that they understand what Ebony's doing and it is a positive influence. Now we're arguing about foot fetishes. Now we're arguing about foot fetishes. When the point that was made, no. I was asked a question. What fighters? Wait a minute. So do I get to talk? I was asked what fighters have said they were influenced by what she was doing. I answered that question. You just are like, what? You don't like the answer?
Julius, 3 or 4 female boxers who we don't know saying they're influenced by Ebony Bridges is not a marketing strategy equivalent to Muhammad Ali. Like, at all. I think that's
well. Once again, you're having an argument within yourself because you're having an argument. You're having an argument by yourself because once again, that wasn't what Gareth said. That wasn't what Gareth said. You have to tack on. You have to make all these associations just to have an argument.
Julius, I think the problem here is, when we criticize your argument, you say that's not what Davey says. When we criticize what Davey says, you say that's not what you're saying. I think you have to accept that we're critically engaging your point, and you can't keep saying that we're not talking about what you're saying.
You're not. You're making associations to career, fighting style, whether or not they won world titles, and that's nowhere in the video. What you want, you know what I see? What you wanted to do was have an argument. What you wanted to do was have an argument about unrelated subjects because none of that pertains to marketing.
Julius,
you talked about culture, philanthropic work, foot fetishes.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Now, Julius,
she took that strategy from Ebony Bridges, and it didn't work out for her. And then, not to mention, she lost her last 2 fights. So it's like that strategy. For these people trying to...
Nika, did I say that's the strategy to win a fight?
No, but you said somebody brought up foot fetishes, which was me, because I saw this.
Did I say that's the strategy to win a fight? I'm just asking though, did I say, or did Gareth say that that's the strategy you need to use to win a fight? Because that's what you bringing to me, that she showed a picture of her foot and then she lost the fight. Okay, so what the fuck that got to do with what Gareth said?
Marcus, if you get sweaty sock in somebody's face, I guarantee you'll probably win that fight.
That's true. That's true. I agree with that, Hitman. Hitman has made a very valid point.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you all this right now. My first fight, I'm not taking a shower for a month. I'm getting in the clinch, dying on the clinch.
I dig that.
would say this.
Who was that wrestler from WWE that had a sock and just like punched it? Mick Foley. Mick Foley. Mr. Sacco.
Mankind, man. Mankind.
I will have to say, guys, as much as I genuinely enjoyed it, even though Julius, we disagreed, I respect you, but I don't like you. No.
Well, that's awesome.
No, I enjoyed having a healthy debate. Look, I do have to go though, so I might have to end this. But I really enjoyed everyone who joined. Follow me if you want. Honestly, I don't post that much good stuff, but I will see everyone. Goodbye. Let's do it again.
All right. Well, closing statements. If we're gonna have a debate, can we stick to the subject? That's all I'm saying. Because I heard a lot of different things that don't actually address the subject.
Yes. Okay, Julius. That's a very classic way to end it. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. All right, ladies and germs, that was our debate. I feel like there were too many people talking at the same time, but you need to get 40 people to debate me, I guess. If you think he is great, your movie library must be pretty bland. Quentin Tarantino is good at what he does, but what he does cannot be duplicated. That either makes him great or limited. They was mad at me, DLG. They was super mad at me. 40, my name gets attached to some shit and 40 people show up to argue with me. That's right, Cardi. You tell them. Levels. You need 40 people to debate Ring IQ because you can't do it on your own. Very simple talking points. No need to... I mean, my point is simple. I see the correlation that Gareth made. It's not overly complex. It's simple. Muhammad Ali changed the way that fighters marketed themselves. Coincidentally, that is what Ebony Bridges is trying to do with body image in reference to female fighters. It's not complex. You make it complex when you make all these tenuous associations that have nothing to do with the subject at hand. This is not about socks, foot fetishes, what Heather Hardy said a year ago, or what she posted. It's not about none of that. You just saying that because it's something about that person that you don't like. That's what all that is. Sneezer Foster says Nika would take Ebony in a... Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I have too much fun online, and I've been making money the whole time. You held your own like a champ. I mean, I dig it. Look, like I said, people on Twitter oftentimes are looking for something to be mad about and something to argue about because the correlation was simple. No one mentioned world titles, professional records, quality of competition. Nobody, Gareth Davies didn't mention that, and I know I didn't. I stuck to the subject, which is marketing. Could she influence marketing for women's boxing? Could she? The way that Ali did? Yes, it's possible in terms of body image because Mia St. John posed for Playboy, but it didn't have the same effect. People weren't sitting around arguing about it anywhere. That she's not before Ebony Bridges even came to the limelight. Eva Brodnitska at her weigh-ins, she always wears a lot of revealing shit. Nobody was talking about that. When Michaela Lauren kissed Cecilia Brækhus on the mouth at the weigh-in, people wasn't sitting around arguing about it. So The correlation you can make between Ebony and Ali in that respect is, yo, when he was talking his shit, yeah, people wasn't happy about it. They didn't like the Louisville lip. They didn't like that he was talking shit. They don't like this lady showing her titties and her ass and her thighs. They don't like it. I like the... Yeah, you gotta use the jab, man. When you got 40 people, you just gotta stick and move, use the jab and keep moving, man. Every time one of them when you see their lead foot come out, stick that jab out there, man. I appreciate that, Jonathan. All right, ladies and germs, that was fun. I'm going to take a nap.